You are not sleeping in our bedroom until you apologize for choosing your sister over me and promise to cut her off financially. Those were my girlfriend, exact words 3 weeks ago. I said okay, grabbed my pillow, and made myself comfortable on the couch. 3 weeks later, I have turned our guest room into my personal sanctuary. And honestly, it is the best decision I have ever made. I am Marcus, 38, a software engineer who thought I had found my person in Rachel after 3 years together. Then one midnight phone call from my sister, Emma, changed everything. Emma was sobbing, barely coherent. Her ex-husband had cleaned out their joint account and disappeared, leaving her with 2 kids and 48 hours to come up with rent or lose their apartment. This is the same sister who fed me groceries in college when I was broke, who handled everything when Dad died while I fell apart completely. Without hesitation, I transferred $2,000 to her account, our entire Cabo vacation fund. Emma needed it more than we needed margaritas on a beach. The next morning, Rachel saw the bank notification and exploded. You sent Emma $2,000. Without talking to me first. You just chose your toxic sister over our future. Toxic. My sister fighting to keep her kids was toxic for needing help. She was about to lose custody of her children. Rachel, call her right now and tell her to find money somewhere else. Promise me you will stop enabling her and put our relationship first. When I refused, Rachel's face went cold. Then you are choosing her over us. Sleep on the couch until you are ready to apologize for betraying our partnership. That was 3 weeks ago. I never apologized because helping your sister keep custody of her children isn't a betrayal. It is being a decent human being. By day 3, I realized this wasn't temporary. Rachel had turned it into a battle of wills she was prepared to drag out indefinitely. So I got practical. I started with the basics, an air mattress and proper bedding because sleeping on that couch was killing my back. When Rachel saw the Amazon boxes, she made sarcastic comments about me getting comfortable instead of doing the right thing, but I was just getting started. Over the next 2 weeks, I systematically transformed that living room into a livable space. A twin bed from Facebook Marketplace replaced the air mattress. I added a dresser for my work clothes, a desk chair because hunching over my laptop was destroying my back, and a monitor for proper productivity. When the mini fridge and microwave arrived, I could eat without venturing into Rachel's territory in the kitchen. The coffee maker meant I didn't have to surrender that daily ritual to someone actively trying to make my life miserable. The PlayStation 5 was the final touch. Rachel stormed in when she heard me gaming with friends. You are seriously sitting here like some teenager instead of addressing our problems. I am relaxing in my space after work. Just like any other adult, this isn't your space. This is our living room. You banished me from our bedroom 3 weeks ago. I am making the best of the space you gave me. Meanwhile, Rachel escalated her psychological warfare. Her friend Vanessa started calling on speakerphone, obviously for my benefit, talking about how I was letting Emma manipulate me and destroy our relationship. Their story kept evolving. First, Emma was manipulative, then toxic, then financially abusive, then deliberately sabotaging us. Rachel's mother Helen showed up unannounced to lecture me about how real men put their woman first and how Rachel should be my priority now. The smug look on Rachel's face made me physically sick. Things got truly controlling by week 3. Rachel blocked Emma's number from our landline and accidentally deleted Emma's voicemails from my phone. When our friends came for dinner, she spent the evening painting Emma as a master manipulator taking advantage of my generous nature. Sitting at my own table, listening to my girlfriend rewrite my family history for our friends, I realized this pattern had been building for years. The subtle comments about Emma being dramatic, the eye rolls when I mentioned holidays with the kids, the gradual distancing from people I loved just to avoid conflict. The breaking point came when Emma's custody hearing was scheduled. I told Rachel I was taking the day off to support my sister. Absolutely not. You are not going to that hearing. Yes, I am. Emma needs family there. If you go to that hearing, that is it between us. You will be choosing her over me. Then I guess we both know where we stand. I went to court. Emma won everything. Primary custody, the house, enforceable child support. Her ex-husband's manipulation tactics backfired spectacularly when the judge saw his deliberate attempts to make the children homeless. When I came home, cardboard boxes were stacked by the door. My entire life. Packed up. Make your choice, Marcus. Your family drama or us? Standing there looking at those boxes. Something clicked. This woman wanted me to abandon my sister during the worst crisis of her life. She had spent weeks isolating me from family, manipulating friends against Emma, and delivering ultimatums to force me to choose between basic human decency and her approval. Someone who actually loved me wouldn't force me to choose between helping my sister and keeping my girlfriend. You have shown me exactly who you really are, Rachel. I loaded my car and drove to my brother Jake's house. He saw my face and the boxes. Come on in, we will figure this out together. That was 2 weeks ago, and it was absolutely the best decision I have ever made in my life. Those 3 weeks, sleeping on a twin bed I had to buy myself, making coffee on a hot plate, being punished for refusing to abandon my values. It felt like exile at the time. Now, I understand it was preparation for the most important lesson of my adult life, that I could choose my principles over my comfort, and not just survive, but thrive. The makeshift bedroom taught me that some hills are worth dying on because they represent who you want to be in the world. Rachel wanted me to become someone who would let his sister lose custody of her children to protect vacation funds. That transformation would have required betraying everything I believe about love and family. I chose to remain someone I could respect. Someone who shows up for family in crisis. Someone whose first instinct is to help rather than calculate the personal cost. And I would make exactly the same choice again without hesitation. Update 1. So a lot of people have been asking what happened next, and honestly, I wish I could say Rachel just accepted things and moved on. But no, things got so much weirder than I expected. Rachel has completely lost her mind. She called my workplace, telling my manager she was concerned about my mental health and thought I was acting erratically. My boss shut that down immediately and told her never to contact our office again. Then she started messaging people from college on Facebook, expressing concern about my behavior and asking them to keep an eye on me. My buddy Dave showed me one of these messages. I am really worried about Marcus lately. He has been making impulsive decisions that seem really out of character. Dave was confused. Dude, you seem less stressed than I have seen you in months. What is she talking about? That is when I realized Rachel's strategy. She was trying to convince everyone I was having a mental health crisis instead of simply making principled decisions about my values. Meanwhile, Emma's life was steadily improving. With custody secured and child support coming regularly, she found a better job with flexible hours. She kept wanting to pay back the $2,000, but I told her to put it toward the kids' college funds instead. Marcus, what you did for me, I don't think I can ever repay that. That is what family does. Emma, we show up for each other when it matters. When Jake and I went back to collect my belongings, I found a manila folder on Rachel's desk labeled financial planning. Inside were printed articles about protecting your finances from family manipulation and a draft email to my mother. She would never sent, asking my mom to help make me see how Emma was hurting our relationship and our ability to reach our goals. She had been planning to involve my own mother in her campaign to isolate me from Emma. Rachel came home early and caught us. The confrontation was the ugliest argument we had ever had. You have no right to go through my personal files. This folder was sitting open on your desk. Rachel, these are detailed plans for manipulating my family relationships. She broke down, crying. I am losing you, Marcus. Emma is destroying everything we built together. I was trying to save our relationship by isolating me from my sister and planning to involve my mother in your campaign. That $2,000 should have gone toward our future, our wedding, our house. That money went to keeping my sister's children in their home. That is building a future, being people who help family when they need it most. But family is supposed to be us now. You and me. That is when I understood our fundamental disconnect. To Rachel, family relationships were zero-sum competition. To me, they should expand when you find the right partner. I collected my belongings and left her standing in the doorway. This is really how it is going to end. You are choosing her over everything we had. I am choosing to be the kind of person I can respect. Someone who shows up for family in crisis. She will need money again in 6 months. This pattern will never end. Maybe you are right. And if it is a genuine emergency and I am able to help, I will probably help her again, because that is what family means to me. Those 3 weeks, sleeping on that twin bed felt like punishment at the time. Now I realize it was preparation for learning that I could choose my values over comfort and still be okay. Update 2. Well, Rachel's not done yet. Her campaign to convince everyone I was having a breakdown continued, but backfired spectacularly. She contacted Jake directly asking him to help stage an intervention because I was clearly in crisis. Jake's response was perfect. Marcus seems happier and more like his old self than he has been in years. Maybe the crisis was in his relationship with you, not his relationship with his family. She also posted daily updates in our friend group chat about her concerns for my mental health. Maria showed me screenshots. Rachel claimed I was paranoid, losing touch with reality, and isolating myself from healthy relationships. Most friends weren't buying it, Tom responded. Helping his sister keep custody of her kids doesn't sound like a mental health issue. It sounds like him being a good brother reading those messages. Something clicked for me. I hadn't changed in the 4 months since our breakup. I had been gradually changing over the entire 3 years we were together, becoming a smaller, more cautious version of myself. Rachel had slowly trained me out of behaviors like calling Emma every Sunday or spending holidays with the kids through subtle expressions of disapproval. Living on my own, I started remembering who I really was. Emma's situation continued improving. She found a job she enjoyed with flexible scheduling. Her 8-year-old son told me something that almost brought me to tears. "Uncle Marcus, Mom said you helped save our house when she was really scared. That makes you like a superhero, right?" "Your mom is the superhero, buddy. I just helped out a little bit. But you helped when it was really, really important." "That is right. That is what families do for each other." "I found my own apartment 2 months ago," Rachel texted when she found out. "I cannot believe you are going through with this. We could have worked through our problems if you had just been willing to compromise." But Rachel never wanted compromise. She wanted complete capitulation to her worldview. Emma helped me move in. "I am sorry that helping me cost you your relationship with Rachel," she said. "It didn't cost me anything, Emma. It showed me who Rachel really was. I would rather live alone and be true to my values than live with someone who wants me to abandon family when they need help most. That makeshift bedroom I created taught me that protecting your fundamental values might require temporary discomfort, but it also means waking up every morning as the person you actually want to be." Final update. It has been 8 months since I walked out of Rachel's apartment with my belongings packed in cardboard boxes, and I can honestly say that this entire experience has been the most important period of personal growth in my adult life. What started with a desperate phone call from my sister and $2,000 transferred at midnight has completely transformed how I understand relationships, family, and what it means to live according to your actual values instead of someone else's expectations. Emma's divorce was finalized 4 months ago, and the settlement was even better than we had hoped. She got primary custody of both children. She kept the house, and her ex-husband is required to pay substantial child support that gets garnished directly from his paycheck, so he cannot play games with the money anymore. More importantly than any of the legal victories, Emma has completely transformed back into the confident, capable person she was before her marriage started falling apart. Last month, she insisted on taking me and the kids on a weekend trip to the coast to celebrate what she called our family's new beginning. Watching my nephew build elaborate sandcastles while my niece collected shells and sea glass, I was reminded all over again why family relationships matter so much, and why they are worth protecting even when the cost feels overwhelming. "You know what I have been thinking about?" Emma said as we sat watching the sunset on our last evening there. "When you helped me during the worst time of my life, you weren't just saving my apartment or helping me win a custody case. You were showing my children what loyalty and love actually look like in real life. They are going to remember forever that their Uncle Marcus showed up when their world was scary and uncertain." That observation hit me harder than almost anything else Emma could have said. My conflict with Rachel had never really been about $2,000 or even about Emma's specific financial emergency. It was about fundamental beliefs regarding how we treat people we claim to love, and what our obligations are to family members who are struggling or in crisis. Rachel's worldview was essentially transactional and zero-sum. Love and financial resources were limited commodities that had to be carefully managed and strategically allocated. Family obligations were inconveniences that threatened the resources and attention that should be focused exclusively on romantic partnerships. Supporting someone during a crisis was enabling weakness and dysfunction rather than demonstrating strength and character. My worldview is fundamentally different and completely incompatible with Rachel's approach. I believe love and compassion are unlimited resources that grow stronger when they are shared generously. Family obligations are opportunities to demonstrate that our values and commitments mean something real when they are tested by difficult circumstances. Supporting someone during crisis is how relationships prove their worth and durability over time. Those two worldviews cannot coexist in the same relationship, no matter how much communication or therapy or compromise might be attempted. The office room incident forced me to choose between my deepest values and my immediate comfort. And I am grateful every day that I made the choice I made. Those 3 weeks sleeping on a twin bed that I had to purchase myself. Making coffee on a hot plate because the kitchen felt like enemy territory. Being treated like I was serving some kind of sentence for the crime of helping my sister. All of that felt like punishment and exile at the time. Now I understand it was actually preparation for the most important lesson of my adult life. It was preparation for learning that I could choose my principles over my convenience. And not only survive, but actually thrive, that I could stand completely alone if necessary rather than compromise the core aspects of my identity that make me who I am. That some hills are absolutely worth dying on because they represent the mountains of character and integrity that define what kind of person you want to be in the world. Rachel called me about 6 weeks ago. She said she had been doing some thinking and maybe we should consider couples counseling because she missed what we used to have together and thought we might be able to find some middle ground. I thanked her for reaching out and told her I appreciated the gesture, but I didn't think counseling would address our fundamental incompatibility. We don't have a communication problem or a misunderstanding that can be resolved through better conversations. We have completely different value systems when it comes to family relationships and what our obligations are to people we love. You need to be with someone who will naturally prioritize your romantic relationship above all other commitments and relationships. I need to be with someone who shares my belief that family shows up for each other, especially during the hardest times. So you are really choosing your sister and her problems over any possibility of us getting back together? I am choosing to be the kind of person I can respect and live with long term. Someone who doesn't abandon people when they need help most. Someone whose first instinct is to help rather than to calculate the personal cost of helping. There was a long pause before she responded. I did love you, Marcus. I really did. I know you did, Rachel. But you loved a version of me that doesn't actually exist in real life. The version that would cut ties with family members to prove romantic loyalty. The version that would prioritize saving money for vacations over helping children stay in their homes. And you couldn't be that version of yourself. I couldn't be that version of myself, and still be someone I could live with. We ended that conversation on a reasonably civil note, and I genuinely hope Rachel finds someone whose natural personality and instincts align better with what she needs from a partner. Just like I hope I eventually find someone who sees my family loyalty as an attractive quality, rather than a threat to be managed and controlled. I have been dating casually over the past few months, and I have made a point of being completely upfront about this entire experience and what I learned from it. The reactions have been pretty telling in terms of compatibility indicators. One woman told me, "You built your own space and refused to apologize for helping your sister keep her kids. That is actually really attractive. It shows you have principles and you stick to them." Another woman said I was being unnecessarily stubborn and that relationships require compromise from both people. Both reactions gave me exactly the information I needed about long-term compatibility. My new apartment has become everything I hoped it would be when I was setting up that makeshift bedroom in Rachel's living room. The home office doubles as a guest room for when Emma and the kids come to stay on weekends. My nephew has officially claimed the desk chair as his homework spot. My niece has turned one of the bookshelves into a gallery for displaying her art projects and school awards. The space that began as punishment and exile has become the foundation for exactly the kind of family relationships I want to maintain and nurture. I think about that Tuesday night phone call pretty regularly. Emma sobbing and terrified that she was going to lose her children because her ex-husband was using money as a weapon against her. In that moment, transferring $2,000 wasn't really a decision I made after careful consideration. It was pure instinct, the automatic response of someone whose first priority is protecting the people he loves. Rachel wanted me to override that instinct in favor of calculating relationship costs and managing financial resources more strategically. She wanted me to become the kind of person who would let his sister lose custody of her children in order to protect vacation funds, and prove romantic loyalty. That transformation would have required me to betray everything I believe about love, family, and what it means to be a decent human being. The office room taught me that the smallest spaces sometimes contain the most important truths about who we really are when everything else is stripped away. 3 weeks sleeping on a twin bed because I refused to abandon my values. 3 weeks making coffee on a hot plate because I chose integrity over comfort. 3 weeks being punished for refusing to become someone I would despise. Those 3 weeks saved me from spending a lifetime slowly erasing myself to maintain someone else's approval and comfort. Emma's kids refer to my apartment as Uncle Marcus's house now, and they have their favorite spots on the couch, preferred snacks in the kitchen, toys and games stored in the closet for their visits. What started as exile and banishment has become exactly the kind of welcoming, family-centered space I always wanted to create. Last weekend, my nephew asked me if I ever felt lonely living by myself instead of with a girlfriend. Not really, buddy. The people who matter most know they are always welcome here. Like us, especially like you guys. He grinned and went back to his coloring book, and I realized that simple exchange captured everything I had fought to protect during those 3 weeks in exile. The belief that love should expand rather than contract when you find the right relationships. That family means showing up consistently, especially when it is difficult or inconvenient. That the right person for me would make me more myself, not less. I think about Rachel sometimes and wonder if she has found someone who fits better with her approach to relationships and family obligations. Someone who will naturally cut ties with family members who need financial help. Someone who will prioritize romantic partnerships above all other relationships and commitments. I genuinely hope she has found that person because we both deserve to be in relationships that align with our natural ways of being in the world, rather than requiring us to compromise our fundamental values. As for me, I am exactly where I need to be right now. Living according to my actual principles, instead of someone else's expectations. Maintaining family relationships that bring joy and meaning to my life. Being the kind of person who shows up when people need help, regardless of the personal cost or inconvenience. That office room is probably back to being storage space now. But the lessons it taught me will last forever. Sometimes protecting who you are requires accepting temporary discomfort and social disapproval. Sometimes love means choosing the more difficult path, because it is the right path. Sometimes the smallest rooms reveal the biggest truths about what kind of person you want to be when everything else falls away. That phone call from Emma changed everything in my life, not because it ended my relationship with Rachel, but because it forced me to choose between comfort and character, between convenience and integrity, between maintaining someone else's approval and maintaining my own self-respect. I chose character. I chose integrity. I chose self-respect. And I would make exactly the same choice again without a moment's hesitation.